Moscow's invasion entered its 8th day of assault. Kherson became the first Ukrainian city to be completely seized by Russian forces amid intensifying international condemnation and demands of an immediate withdrawal of troops. Our Ji-yeon is standing by on the line with the latest. Ji-yeon, can we expect a breakthrough in talks between the two sides?
Well, Daniel, talks between the representatives of Ukraine and Russia were reported to have taken place an hour ago along the Ukrainian-Belarus border, but we cannot independently verify whether it's actually taking place as scheduled. But there are wide speculation that there's not going to be a major breakthrough to de-escalate tensions. Ahead of the meeting, Russian Foreign Minister Sergey Lavrov told reporters in Moscow that Russia will press ahead with its military action in Ukraine until its goals are achieved, which is largely to overthrow the current government and replace it for one that is Moscow-friendly.
We are ready to talk, but we will continue our operation. We can't allow ourselves to preserve infrastructure that threatens the safety of the Russian Federation in Ukraine. Demilitarization in this sense, I mean the destruction of the infrastructure that threatens us, will be completed.
Meanwhile, the Ukrainian side said earlier Wednesday that it won't accept any ultimatums from the Kremlin.
Well, what we know is that Russian forces laid siege to key urban areas across Ukraine. Can you tell us more about the front lines in the country right now?
Well, Russian troops had advanced into strategic cities despite strong resistance from Ukrainian troops. In fact, Kherson officially became the first major city to be captured by Russian forces. Rows of Russian tanks have also been seen in the front lines advancing into Ukrainian capital city of Kyiv, while airstrikes continued in Ukraine's second largest city, Kharkiv. To the east, the port of Mariupol has been encircled and cut off by Russian advance as the port city had to endure 15 straight hours of bombardment. Meanwhile, U.S. officials was quoted by Western media outlets saying a massive Russian convoy of tanks and combat vehicles was stalled outside Kyiv due to shortages of military supplies and low morale of Russian troops.
But the war in Ukraine has taken its toll on civilians as families fled from their homes to neighboring countries for safety. What's the situation like for the refugees?
Right, Daniel. Well, the United Nations say more than 1 million people have fled Ukraine since the war started 8 days ago. And for some who witnessed war the first time when Russia annexed Crimea in 2014, say it doesn't make the shock any less stressful the second time.
I have been through this before, but experiencing it for the second time was an equally huge shock. You start living in peace, and then the same happens again.
The International Criminal Court opened a war crimes investigation into the Russian invasion of Ukraine that involves allegations of war crimes against humanity, or genocide committed on any part of the territory of Ukraine. The civilian death toll in Ukraine is 2,000, according to Ukrainian authorities, while the UN agency has confirmed 227 civilian deaths up until March 1st. Meanwhile, the UN General Assembly overwhelmingly adopted a resolution on Wednesday demanding that Russia immediately end its assault. EU ministers, as well as ministers from Ukraine, the U.S., the U.K., and Canada, are slated to meet this Friday in Brussels to discuss the Ukrainian refugee crisis, in which the UN agency projects it'll shoot up to 4 million as the war escalates. Back to you.